If you look at the 7 to 8% target of the government, it's actually quite ambitious. But of course, it's not impossible to reach it. Now, if you break down our GDP growth, for example, in the first quarter of this year, we saw tremendous performance in the industry sector as well as the services sector growing above 7%. Industry grew by 7.9%, and at the same time, the first quarter also services also improved by 7.0%. So all of these growth are above 7%. I think the slack a bit right now is somewhere in the consumption spending. Consumption spending is one of the main drivers of the Philippine economy. It's about 70% of the Philippine economy. Now, in the first quarter of this year, there was a bit of slowdown in consumption spending. It grew by just 5.6% versus the fourth quarter's growth of 5.8%. So there was a bit of slowdown. Now, this slight slowdown perhaps can be attributed to rising prices because based on theory, whenever prices are increasing, it reduces the purchasing power of the peso, thereby reducing some purchasing power from our consumers. So I think that's one of the main reasons why we're seeing a slightly lower growth right now because of this impact of consumption spending, slowdown of consumption spending because of rising prices. But as far as rising prices is concerned, there seems to be some positive developments there. Previously, we were expecting inflation to peak perhaps towards the end of this year, but because of recent developments, particularly the lower than expected inflation rate for the month of May, which came in at just 4.6% versus expectations then of about 4.8, 4.9, we might probably see inflation peaking earlier than expected in the third quarter of this year. If it doesn't come in June, it might probably come in July this year. So with inflation starting to moderate, we might probably be seeing some stronger push right now from the consumption spending. So with consumption spending growing at 5.6 in the first quarter of this year and inflation starting to taper off towards the end of the year, consumption spending might be a major boost to the Philippine economy towards the end of the year, thereby perhaps helping us grow above the 7% minimum target, the minimum range of the government for this year.